welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of April 21st, 2026. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me today, two individuals that need to say hi because I have to cough.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Daniel Wallace, and Stephen needs to cough.
Sorry.
I'm Devin Kraft.
Hi, guys.
And Devin does not acknowledge Stephen's need to cough.
No.
He doesn't need to acknowledge it. It's fine.
Left unsaid.
Yeah.
I get you.
It's not a regular recording day. So first of all, sorry, patrons. you barely got this early, but we're doing our best. And let's see. Dude, April's almost over. You guys, this year, what's happening?
Time keeps moving.
Yeah.
The world's on fire.
Yeah.
I
want to. You know what every morning what I look forward to is figuring out the superposition of the Strait of Hormuz to see if it's open or closed. Because I hear it might be open, it might be closed. It might be open, it might be closed. And so that's been a fun game to play.
To be perfectly honest, the last, I probably want to say the last maybe 6 days, I've been kind of running a little experiment on myself to not go to YouTube or news sites or social media unless I get a link to go to it. Like not just, instead of take a step back. Those moments where it's like, oh, hey, I'm trying to like escape from whatever's going on in my real life. Like I open the Books app, right? Or I open and like make some progress on a book. How incredible would that be? And I'll tell you, so far, my like general sense of unease and anxiety has really dramatically dropped. So if anybody is concerned about their sense of unease and anxiety, perhaps a 24-hour armchair expert news cycle isn't for you, and that's okay because it's not really for humanity either.
Yeah, we should be in caves eating berries right now, but instead we have 40-hour work weeks and everything else that we've done to ourselves. So,
Well, you're saying how it's already April. The one thing this year I'm looking forward to and want to have happen as soon as possible is the midterm elections, which aren't until November. But also, when you're anticipating something that's kind of far in the future, it makes it seem like it goes longer. Like, oh, when is it going to get here? Which is also good because you don't want your life to go by too fast. So it's kind of like both. Like I want it to be November, but also my anticipation, making my sense of time slow down, is also a positive. So,
yeah, I really love like what that is it's taking a look at what's going on with you and going, you know what, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
What danger am I in right now? Very little, personally, in this moment.
Different times you got to zoom in, you got to zoom out. Sometimes you got to zoom way in just on yourself, take care of yourself, your own personal needs. Sometimes you zoom out to your community and you help them. Sometimes even further and you start voting. And then you got to zoom back in again because everything is falling apart. But you know what doesn't fall apart? Games. I don't know. Transition. Guys,
this transition doesn't fall apart.
This podcast just fell apart.
It sticks around.
Yeah.
It's gonna. This transition's gonna extend far beyond our lifetimes.
It's beyond what was originally comprehended. So there is this game. Okay. Yeah. So this is like this is gonna be a little bit difficult to explain, but hang in there because it's cool. Cyberpunk, right? There was an RPG written way back when called like Cyberpunk 2020, right? And then based on that, there's a video game called Cyberpunk 2077. Hooray. But then also a new RPG, like book-wise, came out called Cyberpunk Red. And it kind of takes place between those two time periods. Wonderful. Now, what does that mean? It means that somebody or a publisher called monsterfightclub.com, there's a link in the show notes, they created a game called Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone. And the deal with that is they have to I'm getting lost in the sauce. So Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone is a war game based on that era of the Cyberpunk universe, right? And Cyberpunk, this specific Cyberpunk universe, first created by, I want to say Mike Pons? I wish I got that right. You've got all these different gangs, which turns into all these different factions, and you can pick up like 5 or 6 models, and that's your gang, and you can go in and you can play a little war game with your friends. Well, guess what? I got roped into this by a friend of the show, Christina's husband, Greg. He was like, hey, guys, check out this game. It came out during the pandemic and died. So this is a game that's built around you and your friends hanging out around a table, chucking dice, making ha-ha, and it came out during the pandemic. And so it didn't really go anywhere. And now you can find models for this game insanely cheap. And the game is a solid game. So solid, in fact, that I played some last weekend with Greg. And it was a ton of fun. He built out this crazy table with like lights and banner, like advertisements, all stuff that he got from Cyberpunk 2077, right? The artwork for the ads in that game are available, online. And so he got those and printed them out and like stuck them on buildings, like ads and stuff. It looked really, really cool. And we ended up playing this game, and the slick part about this, and I'm going to get in the weeds just a tiny, tiny bit. The slick part about this game is that every character has a series of colored die that are your activations and also your health. And so if you, and like your movement as well. So on your turn, if you want to move and you have a green die, you can move green length, which there's a little like length rule about how far you can move on the table. And that would be like a full move. And then there's a yellow length, which is like half of that. And then there's a red length. And if every time you use one of these actions, you flip over the little token saying, okay, I've done this. And then if you have to defend an action, if someone's attacking you and you're like, I'm going to defend with green, and you lose that defense, that green gets downgraded to a red. And these colored die are different amounts. So the green one is a D12, the yellow one is a D10, and the red one is a D6. So as you degrade, as you play the game, and as you're defending and you're winning and you're losing, these dice go down until you're all red and you're considered redlined, which is like a thing from the games, right? And then if you get one more injury, you're out of the game. That character's out of the game. And we were so the game we were playing was a 6-on-6. Greg bought like one of the starter things, which comes with 2 different gangs. He was the Tiger Claws, I believe, which are very like ninja-y, kind of sneaky, a lot of swords. And I was Maelstrom, which are like big dudes with lots of tech bolted onto them. This probably sounds familiar if you've played the game. And so the mission that we picked was just like a gang war, but the game ended when the first to 3 models killed, right? So what ended up happening is I killed 3 of his models, he killed 1 of mine. So then the game ends, but then you look to see what the models are worth, because they all have like a price that you use that's also used to build out like your point list. And anyways, I won that game, and it was a whole lot of fun. It's rare that I get to win against Greg, but he was also like teaching me the game, and we were learning it at the same time, so it makes sense. Next time we play, he's probably going to trounce me. But it was a ton of fun. It was easy to learn. We played. The session lasted about 2 hours, about an hour in and around that was like looking up rules and chit-chatting and all that. So it was like a 3-hour session, but gameplay was about 2 hours, which is perfect for a war game. You sit down, you put your models down, you figure some stuff out, you start playing. 2 hours later, someone's a winner. What fun. So anyways, I have stuff coming in the mail now for this game. I ended up buying, because this game came out a while ago, there's like a ton of models and expansions and all this stuff. And it's all, if you look at the right place online, it's all pretty well discounted now because the game really wasn't that popular. So what I ended up doing is buying a gang of edge runners, but it's the Santo Domingo edge runners. It's the characters from the Netflix show Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So it's all the characters from the show, which is cool. So that's coming in the mail. I don't know when, but when it comes, then I'll have that gang and all of our whole like wargaming group, because it's so cheap. And it's like, you just need one gang. You just need, 6 models, and then we're good to go. Like everybody has bought into different gangs. I think there's like, I want to say like 5 or 6 people that all have different gangs that we're all going to get together and start playing. So yeah, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Some good cyberpunking. I think the best bit that happened in the game, and I'll end with this, is that Greg killed one of my dudes, right? And when your guy dies, you take him off the board and you replace it with like this little chalk outline token, which is kind of funny. But then you can loot the body essentially. And so he looted an SMG off of my guy and then turned around and shot the heck out of another guy with it. It's just, it was a fun moment. It was really cool. Yeah, Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone. You can go to monsterfightclub.com and find some stuff on their official site. It's still kind of expensive, but look around. There's lots of resellers and stuff. You can find it pretty cheap if you really want to. So,
do you usually go through the resale market for that sort of stuff, or?
It depends. Sometimes from the home sites, it's like way overpriced, like way above MSRP for some reason. So yeah, I typically go to a reseller site, something like
to check it out,
Miniature Market or something. Yeah, and it's usually discounted by like 5 or 10%, something like that. But sometimes you can find deals and stuff. Like I found the stuff that I bought. Actually, I found on this website. This is kind of funny. Found on a website. The website looked a little sketchy, but I was like, I'll just give it a shot because the prices were so good. It was like, here's a $80 set, but we're selling it to you for $13. And I was like, this seems weird, but the site was just legit enough that I wasn't like red flagged out of, giving it a shot. And so I ordered it. I ordered the stuff that I wanted, and then Greg was like, since you're doing an order, pick up these other things for me. That way you can get like free shipping and all that, and he could pay me back, and it's great. So we did that. He picked up some stuff. I picked up some stuff. And then, and we were posting about this on our little Discord that we have, our little gamer Discord. And one dude was like, hey, I reverse image searched the picture on that website, and it's from an eBay posting from 2006 or something. And I was like, oh, no. Because the picture on the website was very generic, like game store. And I was like, I think it was a scam. And it was like, sorry, dude, I think you got scammed. And then I was, I'm thinking, well, there goes, $80 or however much I ended up spending in total. But then the next day I got a confirmation and a shipping number, and it turns out the shop, which looked like from their website like some little indie shop here in the U.S., was actually in Hong Kong. So I ordered from, instead of like a little local shop or something, I ended up ordering from a warehouse in Hong Kong. But hey, what are you gonna do? So
do you think it's going to come?
Do
you think it's still legitimate?
So here's the deal. It could still be fake. I could be getting a box full of rocks. You never know. But I've been following the tracking information. It was in Hong Kong. It was shipped to the U.S. It was sent to U.S. Customs, and it just left U.S. Customs, according to the tracking site. Would be pretty weird to have all that set up and be like a total fake out.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, if it shows up and it is like not exactly what I ordered, I wouldn't be surprised either. Or if it was like, damaged boxes or who knows, I'd be like, well, that I should have been more careful with my money. You never know. You never know. What's this about the Orville? I mean, is that show still happening?
Well, that's a really good question. So I came across a couple of bits of information recently about the Orville, which is the Seth MacFarlane's attempt at making what he would consider legitimate Star Trek. And turns out that so the last season came out in 2022. They've written the fourth season. It's just a question of when they have time to produce it. And this is from an article published by Screen Rant, March 4th, 2026, so just a month ago or so. And it got me realizing, oh yeah, that's right. I never finished the third season. So I've been going back and remembering the things I like about the Orville and the things I do not. And it's still there in spades in the third season.
Okay.
So
what episode are you on?
Let's see.
What's the last episode you watched?
The episode I'm currently watching is the episode where they're going to the Moclan. There's like a colony on a Moclan planet where they're harboring a lot of female Moclans. And and Topa goes to visit it as well and it seems like I'm about 20 minutes through their hour and a half runtime on that episode. And
hour and a half runtime?
Yeah, a lot of the episodes when they went to Hulu for season 3, their runtimes expanded to like hour and a half for almost every episode.
Wow.
And yeah.
Okay.
So like you essentially get a movie length story with every episode, which I don't think an hour and a half is the appropriate length for any of these episodes.
Okay. They need to be edited down, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they have the space to breathe. I always want space to breathe, but I'd want them to use that space to breathe for like more character development than they're giving us. They're giving us some, but it doesn't feel economical in that way. A lot of it tends to be eaten up in extremely long establishing shots or
establishing shots to ew.
Yeah, references to 20th century music, like extended references to 20th century music,
like Beastie Boys.
Really, I mean that's a Star Trek thing. No, more like Dolly Parton. And which fine,
cool,
but also like added to episode without any payoff.
Oh, weird.
Like, stuff that they and that's kind of been a
I think the Dolly Parton thing paid off, or maybe that's in the episode you're watching.
Haven't gone to the end of that episode yet, but there are other episodes where it's just like they bring up, I guess in Next Generation when they did it with as a way of saying, hey, here's the stuff that we could get from the public domain. So 20th century music is just jazz, like very, very old jazz and classical music.
It's kind of a problem for both shows because Star Trek, it's like pop culture ended in the 1950s or 60s. Yeah, probably. Right. And then for this show, it's like, okay, well then pop culture only existed in the 90s because that's when Seth MacFarlane likes to, that's when he was growing up and that's the stuff he likes to make fun of. So yeah, it is kind of funny for both of them. It's like you've got hundreds of years of, you would assume, pop culture development between our time and their time. And so while it would be tough to have to make that up, I mean, it would be clever if you could do it in a clever way. So, yeah. And
I mean, when it's done well, like Starship Troopers would be one that I feel is like does a great job of that. Or
wait, what pop culture is in Starship Troopers?
Well, they produce music in universe, right? That is made specifically for it. So, for example, in Starship Troopers, there's a character that plays an electric fiddle, right?
And, right, Gary Busey's kid.
Yeah. like that was kind of that was interesting, right? It was a neat way of doing that, of establishing their own pop culture.
I mean, they also had the like ads and stuff, which kind of adds to, you know, what civilian life was like, with all these ads of like, I'm doing my part, and a bunch of kids, you know, stepping on cockroaches or whatever.
right. And mind you, it's that idea that like in Star Trek, you kind of like I do roll my eyes sometimes when you do get the pop culture references for those, but it's like, of course they're not going to get a lot of pop culture references because they're not a capitalist society anymore. The Orville having its time frame shift. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's a flavor to it that I see where they're going from. Not for me. That's okay. I'm still watching the show. I think that like more of what brings me out of it occasionally is just the blocking, like the way that characters move on the sets, and the framing of shots.
Interesting.
Feels really stiff and wooden. Just from a production standpoint. And like, yeah.
All right.
Anyhow.
But you brought up something interesting that I think we can chat on for a second. Does pop culture exist in Star Trek, or can it? Because pop culture is popular culture, but living in a world where you have real cultures of, you know, hundreds or maybe thousands of different species, I mean, does popular even matter anymore? Or is it just like, look at all this cool culture we can just experience and look at? Would certain things still rise to the top? Like, would there be like suddenly this like trend of oh yeah, let's all put ridges on our foreheads because we love Klingons right now? Like, is there anything like that in Star Trek? Besides the game that they put on their face, and then you have to put like the ball in the wormhole, and then everyone almost dies because they're playing it so much.
I don't think there is much of that in Star Trek, and that's kind of what gives it part of its feeling, its timeless feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
but also
really
I think
nice when Star Trek
realistically there would be.
When Star Trek has the space and time to add details about other cultures, such as Klingon opera, being a really good example of something that's created for the show that enhances your enjoyment of it. It isn't, you know, like that's what I mean. Much like it would be so weird if Star Wars all of a sudden started playing modern music. It would not make sense whatsoever, and because it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right? But like, they go out of their way to increase the, you know, like the storylines and the environmental detail in it to really transport you to another world, and when Star Trek does that, that's really great. I love that when it happens. When it doesn't do it, it's not, you know. Yeah, I guess it's there's room for it. Give it to me. I love other the exploration of other cultures through science fiction.
Yeah,
I mean it's one of those things where I mean, you know, hey, we've gone what three episodes since I've mentioned Farscape, my dear darling love. That one is an interesting one because the main character brings up pop culture references by way of discussion all the time, and he's looked at like he's a lunatic because nobody understands what he's talking about, because he's amongst a bunch of alien races where you're seeing the culture of those alien races constantly. That's the only culture you're seeing throughout it all. And because that's all it is. It's a fish out of water story for John Crichton. So yeah.
Well, here's something interesting that I saw recently. Yeah. You guys are gonna like this. I saw a post. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Doesn't matter. Where someone says, "Hey, I'm dating this guy who has no social media." And so when I was trying to talk to him about something, I was referencing memes that he had no idea what it was. And then the commenter said, like, this is like that Star Trek episode Darmok and Jalad and like Tanagra. Like you have to know the reference to understand the speech. And so like that sort of thing could be happening in real life if people are not paying attention to popular memes versus somebody who is and uses them to communicate. I just thought that was super interesting.
I've got a 12-year-old in my house.
Yeah, you know, you're Darmok and Gelading all over the place.
Yeah. No matter how much memes I'm watching, I'm not watching the right ones.
Well, like you're not allowed to. You're in order
to. Yeah, right. But
well,
and they delight in, being incomprehensible.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's like a secret language. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. I see that Devin wrote down Dust Bunny with capital letters. What does that mean, man? What is that?
It's a movie we watched. It's on HBO.
Oh,
I think it was in theaters last year, or more recently than that. I bring it up just because it's something we watched. The movie itself wasn't bad. It starts off very slow. Like there's no dialogue for like 10 or 15 minutes. It's a very stylized movie. Lots of like magical realism. The world feels like it's all being told through the perspective of this little girl because the little girl is the main character. But it's also a horror movie with assassins in it.
What?
It's a very strange movie.
That sounds crazy.
It's worth watching. I wish it had gotten to this, like, we almost turned it off. Like, I don't mind a story with no dialogue if, it's obviously interesting and you're telling a story without the dialogue, which they do. But it was just kind of like went on a little too long. But then once the story finally kind of got going, it was interesting. But cool. And it's almost it's like hard to
check this out.
Yeah, I think Ben something. I definitely felt like it had energy to it.
Ooh, haven't heard that word in a while.
Yeah,
but it goes. It's a directorial debut of Brian Fuller, who, he did Pushing Daisies, Hannibal. He was the showrunner for the first season of Star Trek Discovery and American Gods.
Wow.
Okay, well, yeah.
All right, that sounds interesting.
Was a writer on Voyager.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it then, but it's basically this little girl lives in an apartment. Something happens to her parents and she has to befriend. I mean, this is all like in the summary you would read on anything. She has to befriend her neighbor who is a hitman. And he, it's kind of like that kind of dynamic of an older guy protecting a kid, and she.
Oh, like all Star Wars now? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's got Sigourney Weaver in it.
Like all Star Wars now.
Like all Star Wars in it. Well, the guy is played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, like all no, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like Mads. He's crazy.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. We have had like a bad run of trying to find new shows to watch, which is why we gave this a chance. We like not necessarily shows that are bad, but just like don't grab you the way like a good TV show will. And like,
yeah,
like we watched, we watched the first episode of The Miniature Wife, which is on Peacock, which the previews make it look funny, but it is not good. It was a dud.
Okay. And I was going to say that looked like it was kind of interesting, and I might give it a shot.
I mean, it may be, people could have different opinions, but, when you kind of get it when a show's good right away. You're like, oh, I get the comedy is my kind of comedy.
It hooks you. Yeah.
And that didn't do it. We watched the first episode of The Burbs, The Burbs, and that was the same way. It's like, something's missing. We watched the first episode of Margot Needs Money, which wasn't bad, but way more serious. Like it again, the previews make it look kind of like a quirky comedy, but it's more like a serious drama. Anyway, we've been kind of like, because we watched the first season of The Pit, which was really good, but I wanted to kind of take a break to be like, okay, I need to rest before watching more of The Pit, because there's a second season which just finished. But now we are watching it because we're like, well, none of the new shows we've tried to start have been good, so let's just watch The Pit. So we're watching The Pit.
Right on.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I mean, we're the West Wing's always there for you, Devin.
Well, it's funny. We have Jen's been watching The West Wing, and so I've been catching an episode here and there.
Nice. Yeah.
One of the things I saw recently about the recent space exploration that humanity's been doing, somebody called it competency porn. Like, it's so nice to watch people know what they're doing and do it well, and that's been missing in our immediate society recently.
The real world, yeah.
Yeah, and so
I think
that's definitely true. Especially watching The Pit. I mean, those are all people who are like highly trained, like instantly have to know what they're doing, and
I mean, and that's probably part of why it's so popular. Besides being, just a good show, it's like, oh, that's what people are craving right now is people that know what they're doing and know what they're talking about.
Right.
All right,
that's an interest. Oh, all right.
No, go ahead. Say what you want to say.
I was just gonna say, going back to the West Wing, like number one, that's why I feel like in this day and age, if you've ever liked West Wing, it's kind of nice to rewatch it right now. And then number two, I'd imagine that is probably one of the reasons why it is such a extreme departure when Aaron Sorkin leaves, and you get a staff both in front of the camera and behind the camera that are kind of floundering for a season or so,
Okay.
In the fourth season. But yeah,
cool. Or not cool. I don't know. Let's move on, though.
It is what it is.
It is what it
and
is.
It was what it was.
Yes. Let's move on to future or now.
Now.
All right, we're already half an hour in, which is fine. But guys, I'm finally going to talk about my science. Are you excited?
Oh, yes. Do it. Devin,
all right.
Devin, what's your science?
No, shut up.
Quick.
No.
Quick, Devin, get your science in quick.
So I don't have anything to file this under. File this under, huh? So let's do that. This was published in Science Daily on March 16th, over a month ago now. The title is Just 24 Minutes of Specially Designed Music Could Significantly Reduce Anxiety. So, who's anxious? Yep, that's right.
Yep.
You are.
My hand's raised.
Yeah, I thought so. A new randomized clinical trial suggests that listening to specially designed music for just 24 minutes may significantly lower anxiety. The music was paired with auditory beat simulation, ABS, a technique that uses rhythmic sound patterns to influence brain activity. Researchers say the approach could provide an accessible, drug-free option for people looking for additional ways to manage stress and regulate emotions. So what's interesting about this article is they talk about the trial a little bit. Let's see. The clinical trial tested different listening lengths. So the study included 144 adults who had moderate trait anxiety and were already taking medication to help manage their symptoms. A couple of red flags there. Sample size isn't big enough, and you need more people types without anxiety, all that stuff. But we'll keep going. Participants were randomly assigned to one of 4 listening conditions. Pink noise, 24 minutes, that was a control. Music with ABS, and remember, ABS is auditory beat stimulation. Auditory beat stimulation. So music with ABS for 12 minutes, music with ABS for 24 minutes, and for 36 minutes. Before and after the listening sessions, participants completed standardized assessments that measured anxiety levels and mood. So, the results showed that listening to music with ABS significantly reduced both cognitive and somatic symptoms of anxiety compared with the pink noise control. Participants also reported improvements in negative mood. Among the different listening durations tested, the 24-minute session produced the strongest overall reduction in anxiety. Its effects were similar to the 36-minute session and clearly stronger than the 12-minute session. Quote from Russo, professor of psychology at TMU and chief science officer of Lucid, says, quote, "What we're seeing is a dose-response pattern where about 24 minutes of music with ABS seems to be the sweet spot. It's long enough to meaningfully shift anxiety levels, but not so long that listeners need to carve out a large block of time. So, if you're feeling a little anxious, it could be that you just need to kind of settle down for a good half hour, a little bit less, listen to some interesting music, and that might give you the little bit of kick you need to reduce your anxiety. Kind of cool.
I'm curious, and I'm kind of trying to frantically look through the actual article, you know, the
study
research article on the study, because I'm curious. So, okay, like, yes, we are listening to either pink noise as a control versus certain amounts of time, but are there any recommendations for activities you're doing while you're listening to this stuff? Like, is it testing only for like, hey, we're encouraging everybody to close their eyes, to only be there part of it, or are they, you know, in an environment where there are other activities that they're doing? Are they multitasking? Like, is it something that's tied to ABS as an auditory stimulus, or is it something where like a similar amount of attention, like via mindfulness, would be giving a, you know?
So
like
I think I see what you're saying. Would just be sitting down and relaxing for the same amount of time be the same thing?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like,
or
just
meditating,
like,
or whatever.
Taking a break from your day. Yeah.
I'm tuning into a different thing. Right. Like, does the subject of what we're tuning into matter?
Right.
Is kind of the
next
part that I'm curious about.
What I would say, I mean, I don't see it in the article. I mean, it seems that this study didn't try to answer those questions. This seems like a first step kind of study. We're like, hey, does this do anything? It appears to be doing something. Okay, more research is kind of how I see this. And the questions that you're asking would be like, yeah, if they're going to do more testing, those are things to pay attention to. For example, I think it says here in the article that they wanted them to. I was about to make a joke. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to know that this is a joke. In the article, it says that you're actually supposed to be working in a slaughterhouse while listening to this, and it will make your anxiety just tank. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't say anything in here about like what you should be doing while listening to the noise. Like, it doesn't appear that was part of the study. I would love to see that being part of the study. More people, more sound types, more like, okay, you're in a dark room, or here, shuffle some playing cards while you're doing it, or watch, nature, or whatever, and just to see more options. And is it just a matter of stopping what you're doing for about half an hour, and just not worrying about things and focusing on something else? Maybe that's the sweet spot, and it doesn't matter what you're listening to. Or maybe with some people, listening to something just helps them to focus away from the anxiety-inducing things. I don't know.
Right. Is this the destination, or is this a gateway to a portion of ourselves that exists that has a lot of different gateways to it? You know?
I mean, there are studies with Buddhist meditation people, monks, where they put the electrodes on their head and they're like, go meditate. And they're like, wow, your brain waves are doing stuff that normal people don't while you're meditating. So like, you can get yourself into that state, into different states of mind with enough practice and concentration or lack thereof. But in this day and age, you need a quick fix. You need 24 minutes, and then you got to get back on the grind, man.
Yes, precisely. But I mean, again, like that idea of, this is a really nice first step, but also the idea being that, like anything, if where they're directing you to is something that you have access to at any time through a lot of different ways, becoming dependent on any one thing to get you there. Like I would want to encourage anybody, like, hey, if you think, if you're anxious, there is help. You can find it. If music is what gets you there, like, go for it. Cool. But don't think that it's the music that's getting you there and as the only thing that you need. What happens when all of a sudden our access to all of these ABS tracks goes away? Are you still are you then blocked off from being able to attain whatever it is that you're reaching for?
From that point forward,
don't think so.
Pure anxiety. No other options. It's a vibrating mess.
Yeah, right. But I guess yeah, it's that idea of like what does it take to get us there?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
All right. Well, that's it.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Finally.
I thought that was
really
cool like
really
a month
good.
ago, and it's still cool.
It's still cool. Yeah, for sure.
Devin, give us some science, man.
All right. This is from an article from Science Daily. It's truckloads of food are being wasted because computers won't approve them. Modern food
But
systems...
computers don't even eat food.
Modern food systems may look stable on the surface, but they are increasingly dependent on digital systems that can quietly become a major point of failure. Today, food must be, quote, recognized by databases and automated platforms to be transported, sold, and even released, meaning that if systems go down, food can effectively become unusable even when it's physically available.
Man.
So this talks about how, well, the food distribution system and how more and more, like I said, it's becoming automated, which includes things like the transportation and production of food, but then also the inspection of food. So if we have software, including AI, that can do a better job of looking at things and identifying them. But if things go wrong, then it's also harder to fix the system, to manually come in and override it when you're not exactly even sure how the AI is making an incorrect decision. There's also the risk of cyber attacks. They talk about there actually was a cyber attack on a food processing center. Excuse me. Say that this is not theoretical. During the 2021 ransomware attack on JBS Foods, meat processing operations stopped even though animals, workers, and facilities were all in place. This was apparently in Australia. It says some Australian farmers managed to override the systems, but many disruptions remained. More recent failures, more recently, failures at large distributors have shown how quickly deliveries can be interrupted even when goods are available. Then they talk about how fewer humans, fewer backup options. So the more we take humans out of the system, the harder it would be to fix if there's a problem. Failures can spread quickly. A lot of this has to do with analysis of UK food production systems. I think the original article, the scientific article that this is based on, was an analysis of the UK systems. So they say food security is also discussed in terms of supply, but there's another factor that matters just as much: authorization. If a digital manifest is damaged or unavailable, shipments may never be released. And again, this is important in countries like the UK, which depend heavily on imports and complex logistics networks. Resilience is shaped not only by how food moves across borders, but also by how data and decisions are managed within the system. And so they talk about the AI and how we need humans involved in order to be able to override it if necessary. So it's kind of another just thing to be aware of when it comes to more automation and AI systems, and how the more we integrate these into our lives and our industries, the also more problems it could cause. So we need to make sure we have ways of overriding it, procedures in place for confirming these things, and most importantly, not letting food go to waste. Because, it would be very unfortunate to have lots and lots of food available that then can't be used, which has happened in multiple situations, not necessarily because of digital issues, but it reminds me of situations like when they canceled USAID and a lot of food that was available just went to waste. Or during COVID, actually a lot of food went to waste because of problems in the distribution chain.
The logistics of it all, yeah.
Yeah, and in the book I read, Animal Rights Now, I've discussed multiple times. One of the things it talks about is how many animals were slaughtered and then not used because of COVID, because there was no way of processing the meat. So they had to kill a bunch of animals because they needed, they couldn't just have them. That part of the process
can't let
needed
them
to be
live. That would
can't
be
let
crazy.
them just live. Yeah. Well, and it gets way more disturbing because the way they slaughtered a bunch of animals was inhumane. I won't get into it.
Oh, geez.
But so yeah, there's definitely, when we have a very complicated network in our world for all these different systems, automating it helps, but that can cause more problems. As we can see in many different situations, a small problem in one place, maybe not a small problem, but a problem in one place can have significant ripple effects across the entire supply chain, as we've are experiencing currently with oil prices in the Strait of Hormuz, and more than just oil prices. But so, yep. There you go.
We are in such a tumultuous era of change. It's interesting to be in the middle of it, being like, hey, we have all these options and none of them are working because no one can agree on what's right and what's wrong.
I don't know if I've mentioned it or just thought it, but as I probably have mentioned, I watch videos from Mentor Pilot where he talks about different aviation accidents and how complicated things have to be in order. Well, how, like, aviation is one of the most dangerous things we can do, but it's also now one of the safest things we can do, because every time there's an issue, it's fully documented. Procedures are put in place to prevent that from ever happening again. And we end up with a very complicated system because there's a lot of bureaucracy. Pilots have to be trained on like every little thing. But there's a reason for it, and it's done really well. Accidents still happen, and we learn from those accidents. But I think of something like that, like such a highly regulated industry, which requires that regulation, and where we've taken the thought and time to try to make it as safe as possible. And then how someone can come in, and because that's not just true for aviation, that's true for so many different industries and so many different just government systems, and how someone can come in and be like, oh, this isn't necessary, and just not supposed to be possible in our system of government. It's supposed to move slowly and with plenty of checks and balances, but how unfortunately somehow someone can just come in now and just wipe away parts of it and not think, like, you realize there's a reason all this exists. It's not just something someone put in place overnight because they wanted to make things harder for people. These are things that developed over decades for very good reasons. And when you just delete certain parts of it here and there, you completely undermine the system, and you have no idea the type of ripple effects that causes for decades to come.
Yep.
And so
I hear what you're saying. All right, guys.
And that person was Joe Biden.
Jeez. Obviously. It's obviously him. Or it was Hillary, maybe. Get her in prison. I promise. Day one. All right. We're going to take ourselves a little break. When we come back, we are doing a book club, and it's going to be Morning Shed by Namita Krishnamurthy. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. There is a link in the show notes, and to hook you, the first sentence is, every few years, my face erupts in a frenzy of eyes. So let that hook into you. Go read that story. It's not too long. Take you about 5-10 minutes. And come back and we'll talk about it. So we'll be right back. Oh, wow. Another free listener. Incredible. Look, I love that you're here, but let's be real. You could be getting so much more. Bonus episodes, unfiltered takes, behind-the-scenes chaos. All you have to do is join our Patreon at patreon.com/sciencefactionpodcast. Or don't. But if you don't, just know that somewhere in a parallel universe, a better version of you already has. And we're back.
Hello.
Heyo.
Hey, guys.
And a big thank you to our patrons, Renee and Josh. Thanks for bearing with us. And you got a lot of neat Star Wars and MCU discussion in the middle there.
Let's not forget about your Super Mario Galaxy movie review.
Oh, yeah. My movie review of Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, don't spoil it. You got to be a patron.
And so next week we're going to be reading Learning to Be Me by Greg Egan from thetafiction.com. And the little blurb here. I was 6 years old when my parents told me that there was a small dark jewel inside my skull, learning to be me. That also. I mean, that's a very common thing for all of us, right? Like,
oh yeah, my dark jewel is still learning.
Yeah.
How's your dark jewel doing?
It is darker than most, Stephen. Power has been shut off to it, and it takes.
I really misunderstood when my mom told me about the family jewels.
I
thought they were in a completely different place.
Jeez.
Devin has two small dark jewels.
They're not in his skull. All right, let's move on.
They don't work anymore.
Yeah, man.
All right, this week, what are we doing?
Okay, we're reading Morning Shed by Namita Krishnamurthy from strangehorizons.com. And my friends, this is a lot closer to a Stephen King story than the sci-fi we usually do.
And, it was definitely less sci-fi, but still weird and creepy.
Yeah. I'm here for it. It was pretty cool. I think that part of it really has to do with like the body transformation stuff, the body horror stuff combined with Eastern mysticism. And that's really kind of an interesting sort of thing, the culture.
The culture. This is definitely Indian culture, I believe. I could be incorrect. There might be a better name for it that I'm not aware of.
And they don't
specify it.
But the author is a writer and actor from Chennai, India.
Okay.
And this is her first foray into fiction, which keep on writing Namita Krishnamurthy, because wow.
The thing that caught me about this story, and we'll talk about exactly what it's about in a second, but just the way that things are described. Like the first sentence, every few years my face erupts in a frenzy of eyes, right? Not real eyes, and you don't find that out until much later. Right?
Right. I have a lot of curiosity about that. Like, after having read the whole thing, now it's like the story is only about the first time that this happens.
Okay.
And so that idea, so Morning Shed, the basic gist of it is it's a combination of acne. Like, basically the face erupts in a frenzy of eyes, and it's dismissed by doctors as just being acne. And so you're kind of you're kind of along with, like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just talking about acne. Maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not.
At first, you're like, okay, so it's acne, great. But then you find more about her family and this. Was it a shrine? The whole snake story. There's go ahead.
That there's a snake like god that that there were children, and one of them was a snake, the other one was a human, and so
there was a forest fire, a childless couple helped all the snakes, and the snakes were like, oh, now we're going to give you kids, but one of them's a snake, one of them's a kid. It was like this whole story that was told to her, but it's also kind of alluding to like maybe those are her ancestors for real. And because then when she goes to the temple and has the whole process done to her, what was that called? The whole what's the word?
The ritual.
The ritual. Thank you. Yes. The whole ritual happens. And as she's describing all of that, you're like, oh, this is something else. Something else is going on here.
Yeah. And yet then, like, as it gets to the end, you know, she owns it. Like, it's no longer body horror. It's something of, like it's a regular ritual that she goes through and is just a part of her. And, you know, yeah. But really, what really takes people aback is that I have no eyes. Where the sockets used to be are two lonely slits. And sometimes I think I look like the donation box at the temple, all shiny and silver with two slots to slip a coin in.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell them my skin was never mine to begin with. I tell them it must be in my genes.
Like, there's so many parts of the story where I'm like, is the author telling us what's really happening, or is the author telling us what's happening via metaphor? Like, her eyes being two lonely slits, is it because she's smiling now? And, like, her eyes are squinted because she's happy? Or did her face physically change into a snake?
More literal. I mean, at first I thought things were metaphorical, but as the story went on, I'm like, oh, I think it seems like this just is what it is. She's become part snake person.
Yeah. Could be. So the story also has a lot of modern stuff in it. Like, it talks about she's looking for her aunts on Facebook. Talks about modern medicines that are used for acne. So it has a really interesting, like, slice between, you know, modern medicine and then this you know, weird snake ritual thing. It was super interesting. Not quite what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed it. How about you guys?
Yeah.
No notes?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It didn't make me come away wanting to read, like, a lot more similar stories. But it was interesting.
I definitely wouldn't mind reading more from this author in this style. I like the style.
One thing, as I've been occasionally reading a little bit more biography and autobiographies lately, thanks, Mom, for suggesting many great ones. What really kind of encourages me, and the things I like, is the fact that it's the ability for us through literature and through reading to inhabit somebody else's life for a short time. And the peaks we get in this story, because it feels autobiographical, because it has metaphor to it, because it has the cultural significance in it, it has an authenticity to it that is really, really incredible. So, yeah, like, I'd love to read more. The fact that this is the first story by this author is the first work of fiction by this author is really cool to me.
It is shorter length. It's 2,500 words, just over 2,500 words. And the amount of detail that's packed into the story is impressive. I've read stories this long that barely say anything. And this this is culture, this is science, this is mysticism. This is a kid, struggling with their looks in society. It's parents and, listening to family. And there's just so much in here. And it was an easy read. There was nothing about this where I was like, wait, what's happening? Like, it's all very clear. I was very impressed with the story. All that being said, I don't feel like it's science fiction. Not really.
No. It's closer to a Stephen King.
Yeah.
Clive Barker sort of, horror.
Yeah, it's got
with
it's
a capital
got,
H.
Like
a classical literary horror.
It does have content warnings of body transformation, sexism, gender discrimination, and shaming. And all those things are definitely in there. So keep your snake eyes out for that.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Stephen.
You're welcome. All right, gentlemen.
All right,
we are almost at exactly an hour according to my timer, and I think that's perfect. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let's pad it out.
Let's pad it out. Let's just say nonsense for one more minute, and then we're good. Hey, Devin, do you have any final thoughts for us this week?
No, I don't.
All right. Awesome. Ben, any last words?
Well, my wife left a note on the fridge that says, "This isn't working. I'm going to my mom's." I opened up the fridge. The light was on. Everything seemed cold. I don't know what she was talking about.
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.